I'm back in the city. And I want to talk about two things. Well, I want to talk about prioritization of work and two things, wind and water. So I had a big week this week. I was on the farm. They're calling for good weather for 5 days, 5 days in a row, and then followed by a string of rain. So I want to get as much done as possible because I want to come to the city guilt-free, not have to worry about all the work that has to be done on the farm. So basically it's weeding season, and that's it. We've seeded all the seeds, we've planted all the transplants, and now we need to make sure that they have no competition to grow, so they get adequate sunlight, water, earth, and all that. So it's a weeding game basically. Got to go through every field, every row, remove all the weeds, and then repeat. So this is it until pretty much August. It's best to keep on top of these things. It's best to attack it, because if you wait a few days, it could make a difference of taking 3 days to do a field or taking 2 weeks to do a field, because the weeds grow that fast with the heat that's coming in and the sun and whatnot. It's very important to get on these things. So basically what I had to do, I had a lot planned. I had to weed the burdock, weed this field, weed that field, weed the skullcap, weed the blue vervain, weed the echinacea, weed the lemon catnip, clean out this ditch, level off this pile of earth, mow this grass, string trim the blueberries, and move this rock. That's a lot to do for 5 days, but I'm a professional. I've been doing this for years. So I know that if I could just keep working as long as there's sunlight and try not to injure myself, that it was doable. The problem is, on a farm, or on my farm, the two things that will cause me to drop everything at once are wind and water. We saw this earlier. After I did the seeding, we had some heavy rains come in unexpectedly, and they caused some flash flooding, and there was a risk of washing the seeds away, which would have been a total loss for the year, because if I would have got to reseeding it, it would have been too late. So I had to drop everything there and make sure that the field was properly drained. And this week, what we experienced were some very, very heavy winds. They're normal for this time of year. When the heat starts to come in, we get the winds with it. And the thing is that earlier in the week, we had a tornado warning for this part of the world, which is odd because we don't get those. We don't get tornadoes. We don't get earthquakes. It's generally uneventful. But yeah, we had a tornado warning. So huge gusts were coming in as I was starting the weeding. Huge gusts were coming in, and they were threatening our greenhouses and just thrashing the remay that we had set up around the grapes to protect from bugs. So that had to be dealt with. It was frustrating. A gust would come in, knock all the remay off. We'd get out of the field, go secure the remay, go back in the field, try to start weeding again. Another gust would come and do the same thing. And in the end, what we had to do was just remove the remay, roll it up and secure it to the top wire around the grapes, and that took time. It took half a day. That wasn't planning on losing, but it was a necessity. We had to get to that before we could weed the burdock, weed this field, weed that field, weed the skullcap, weed the blue vervain, weed the echinacea, weed the lemon catnip, clean out this ditch, level off this pile of earth, mow this grass, string trim the blueberries, and move this rock. So yeah, it was pretty much took out a half a day from what I had planned, so I had to work even harder to get it done. But as I am a professional, I've been doing this my whole life. I've been weeding, and I have gotten pretty good at it. I can do it pretty quickly and pretty efficiently without killing too many plants. So I figure now, because this is going to be a large part of this vlog for until August at least, I figured it'd be a good time to run through some of the steps for best results in weeding. Pretty simple. Step 1 is pass with the brushes to eliminate all weeds except for a 3-inch row, hopefully where the plants are. Step 2, choose the best tool for the job. Step 3, is to locate the plant in the weeds. And step 4, finally, is to remove everything that isn't a desired plant. It's pretty simple. Let's go through that again. Step 1, pass with the brush weeder. Step 2 is choose the right tool for the job. Step 3, locate the plants. And step 4 is remove everything that isn't a plant. Pretty simple. Makes for long days, and especially when it gets hot, the mind starts to go. The mind just starts to drift on you, so I'm sure we'll get into that. I've only had heat stroke twice this year so far. It's the beginning of June, so there'll be plenty more delusional vlogging rants, so don't worry about that. But yeah, got it done. 5 days of work. I've never worked so hard in my life. Well, that's not true. I've never worked so hard this year. That's not even true. I work my butt off because I have a few days of rain now in the city, and usually when I'm in a city, I'm all stressed out about what's going on the farm, what I could be doing, the work that's not being done. I woke up with a panic attack this morning, thinking like, oh God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I have to done? What do I have to get done? And thought about it and was like, no, I did everything. I worked my butt off for this. So I got another 2 days before I head down to the farm. I'm going to take it easy. Try not to stress out like I usually do. And then head back and see what's waiting for me. Probably more weeding. We'll see.